Before you spoke your first words, before you even understood language, your voice was already shaping the world around you. Think about this. Your very first act of communication wasn't through words, but through sound. The moment you were born, you cried. That single cry was enough to signal your arrival, to demand attention, to express distress, and to trigger an instinctual response from those around you. Without needing to explain yourself, your voice had power. And even now, whether you realize it or not, your voice continues to shape how others perceive you and even how you perceive yourself. Your voice is more than just a tool for speaking. It's an emotional fingerprint, a psychological signature, and a powerful force that influences the way people feel about you before they even register your words. Your voice is a mirror of your mind. Every time you speak, you reveal something about yourself. It's not just about what you say. It's how you say it. Consider this. Have you ever heard someone say, "I'm fine," but their voice told you otherwise? Maybe their words were steady, but there was a tightness in their tone, a hesitation, a slight wavering that betrayed their true emotions. That's because your voice is deeply connected to your emotions. It's an open book, even when you don't want it to be. Psychologists have found that we subconsciously pick up on vocal cues that reveal confidence, insecurity, nervousness, or excitement, sometimes even more accurately than body language. Think of a time when you felt truly confident. Maybe you were telling a story to friends, delivering a speech, or expressing an idea you deeply believed in. Without even trying, your voice naturally adjusted. Your words flowed smoothly, your pitch was steady, and your tone had an effortless strength. Now compare that to a time when you felt uncertain. Did your voice crack? Did you speak too quickly? Stumble over your words? Or find yourself hesitating? These vocal shifts happen because your brain and body are connected in ways we're only beginning to understand. But here's the fascinating part. It's not just that your emotions influence your voice. It works the other way around too. How changing your voice can change your mind? What if the way you speak could actually rewire your brain? Studies in psychology and neuroscience have uncovered something incredible. Your voice doesn't just reflect your emotions, it can shape them. This phenomenon is known as vocal feedback. In one study, researchers found that when people were asked to speak in a slower, more deliberate tone, their anxiety levels dropped. The simple act of controlling their voice sent a signal to their brain that they were calm and in control, which in turn actually made them feel that way. Another study revealed that people who smiled while speaking, whether they felt happy or not, naturally infused their voices with warmth and positivity. And interestingly, the very act of adjusting their tone caused their mood to improve. This means that by consciously adjusting your voice, you can hack your own emotions. Want to feel more confident before an important conversation? Slow down your speech, lower your pitch slightly, and take deeper breaths. Want to come across as more trustworthy? Speak in a steady, calm tone with natural variations in pitch. The key is understanding that your voice isn't just a reflection of who you are. It's a tool that can shape who you become. What your pitch, speed, and tone reveal about you, every single element of your voice carries meaning, even when you don't realize it. Pitch. People with deeper voices are often perceived as more authoritative and confident. That's why many political leaders, CEOs, and media personalities train their voices to have a lower register. But a voice that's too deep can sometimes come across as intimidating or unapproachable. On the other hand, a higher pitched voice is often associated with friendliness and warmth. But if it's too high, it can be perceived as anxious or lacking confidence. Speaking speed. Talking too fast can signal nervousness, anxiety, or urgency. It can make it harder for people to absorb your words, and they may subconsciously feel rushed or overwhelmed. Conversely, speaking too slowly can create frustration or make you seem uncertain. The ideal pace, a natural rhythm that matches a situation. Studies show that people perceive a speaker as more confident when they speak at a steady, controlled pace with intentional pauses. Tone and inflection. The way you shape your words changes everything. Have you ever noticed that someone can say "I'm sorry" in a way that feels genuine, and another person can say the exact same words but sound insincere? It's all in the tone. Similarly, inflection, the rise and fall of your voice, determines how engaging you sound. A flat, monotone voice loses people's attention quickly, while a voice with natural rises and falls keeps people listening. Pauses and silence. Believe it or not, what you don't say is just as powerful as what you do. Skilled speakers use silence to their advantage. A well-placed pause before delivering a key point creates suspense and makes your words feel more impactful. Too many fillers like and can weaken your message, but strategic silence can make you sound more thoughtful and deliberate. By paying attention to these elements, you can start to understand what your voice is revealing about you and how you can control that message. The unconscious judgments we make from a voice alone. Here's something startling. Studies show that people form an impression of your personality within half a second of hearing your voice. Before they even process your words, they make subconscious judgments about your trustworthiness, competence, and confidence just from the way you sound. For example, researchers found that people with warm, expressive voices are more likely to be perceived as likable and persuasive. Meanwhile, a voice that sounds tense, strained, or monotone can make someone seem cold, disinterested, or even deceptive. There's even evidence that your voice can predict professional success. A study on CEOs found that those with deeper, more resonant voices tended to run larger companies and were perceived as stronger leaders. Another study on political candidates showed that voters were more likely to support candidates with lower pitched voices because they associated them with strength and reliability. But what about personal relationships? Interestingly, people are naturally drawn to voices that match their emotional state. If you're feeling stressed, you might unconsciously gravitate towards someone with a soothing, steady voice. If you're excited, you're more likely to connect with someone whose energy matches your own. The power of your voice extends far beyond communication. It shapes your relationships, your opportunities, and even the way you see yourself. It hurts that it can. Your voice changes over time. Absolutely. Your voice is not fixed. It evolves based on your experiences, emotions, and even your physical health. That's why someone's voice in their early 20s can sound very different from their voice in their 40s. Interestingly, some people naturally change their voices depending on who they're speaking to. You might use a different tone when talking to a friend versus a boss. You might instinctively lower your pitch in a serious conversation or soften your voice when comforting someone. This is called code switching, and it's something we all do to navigate social situations. But beyond these natural shifts, your voice can also be trained. Just like an athlete strengthens their muscles, you can strengthen your voice. Your voice is a superpower. If you learn to use it, the way you speak affects how people respond to you, how much they trust you, and even how they remember you. It's a tool that can be refined, developed, and used to your advantage. And the best part? Unlike physical appearance or background, your voice is something you can actively shape. Your voice speaks before you. Do imagine walking into a room full of strangers. Before they see your clothes, before they notice your body language, before they even process your facial expressions. They hear your voice. And in that split second, their brains are already making decisions about you. Are you confident, nervous, trustworthy, intelligent, friendly? Studies show that people form an impression of your personality within half a second of hearing your voice before they even process what you're saying. They're already judging who you are. It's not just an instinct. It's biology. Your voice is a primal signal shaped by millions of years of evolution, designed to communicate far more than words alone. So what is your voice revealing about you right now? The hidden messages in your voice. Every voice carries subtle cues. Some obvious, some deeply subconscious. These cues shape how people react to you, and they influence everything from personal relationships to career opportunities. Researchers have identified several key elements in a voice that can dramatically affect how others perceive you. Pitch. A lower voice is often linked to authority and confidence. That's why politicians, CEOs, and news anchors tend to have deeper, more controlled voices. But a voice that's too deep can sometimes feel intimidating or unapproachable. Conversely, a higher pitched voice is often perceived as warm and friendly, but it can also be associated with nervousness, pace. Speaking too fast can make you seem anxious or rushed. Speaking too slow can make you sound uncertain or uninterested. The ideal speech rate is around 120, 150 words per minute, fast enough to keep attention, slow enough to be clear. Resonance. A voice that is deep and rich in tone tends to be perceived as more engaging and trustworthy. Nasal, thin, or strained voices, on the other hand, can come across as less credible. Inflection. Rising intonation at the end of sentences, sometimes called upspeak, can make you sound uncertain or hesitant. A falling tone signals confidence and decisiveness. Breath control. Shallow breathing makes your voice sound shaky and weak. Deep, controlled breathing strengthens your voice and makes you sound more composed. Every conversation you have is influenced by these factors. And while most people think their words are the most important part of communication, the truth is, your voice is the message. How the brain reacts to your voice. Ever wondered why some voices instantly capture attention while others make you want to tune out? The answer lies in neuroscience. When someone hears your voice, their brain processes it through two different pathways. The logical pathway, left brain, this part of the brain deciphers your words, analyzing what you're actually saying. The emotional pathway, right brain, this part interprets tone, pitch, and emotion. It decides how you make someone feel. Here's what's fascinating. The emotional reaction happens first. Before someone fully understands your words, their brain has already decided how they feel about you based on your voice. This is why the same sentence can sound warm, intimidating, sarcastic, or uncertain depending on how you say it. It's also why people with expressive voices tend to be more persuasive. They activate the emotional center of the listener's brain, making their message more engaging and memorable. But it doesn't stop there. Your voice can influence trust and leadership. Would you trust someone just because of the way they sound? Science says yes. Research from Princeton University found that people can accurately judge leadership ability just by hearing a voice without seeing the speaker or knowing anything about them. In the study, participants listened to short clips of different voices saying neutral phrases. They were then asked to rank the speakers on qualities like confidence, competence, and leadership potential. The results? The deeper, more controlled voices were consistently ranked as the most powerful and trustworthy. This is why major business leaders, politicians, and public figures often work with voice coaches to refine their tone. They understand that vocal presence is just as important, if not more, than the words they speak. But what about trust? A separate study published in the Journal of Experimental Psychology found that people are more likely to trust someone whose voice has steady, balanced tones with natural variations. A voice that is too monotone can sound robotic or indifferent. A voice that is too erratic can sound anxious or deceptive. The balance between stability and natural expressiveness is the key to sounding both trustworthy and authoritative. So the next time you're about to speak in an important meeting, negotiation, or presentation, ask yourself, is my voice working for me or against me? The psychological impact of a warm versus cold voice. Think about the last time someone spoke to you in a tone that instantly put you at ease. Maybe it was a friend checking in, a mentor offering advice, or even a stranger giving you directions with a calm, reassuring voice. Now, think about a time when someone's tone immediately made you feel uncomfortable. Perhaps they sounded impatient, dismissive, or uninterested. The way someone's voice makes us feel is more powerful than the actual words they say. In fact, studies show that in emotional conversations, people remember how something was said more than what was actually said. This is why doctors, therapists, and customer service professionals are trained to use calm, warm, and steady tones. The right voice can de-escalate conflict, build rapport, and create a sense of security, even in tense situations. Want proof? In a famous study, researchers had participants listen to recordings of people reading the same neutral sentence in different tones. A warm, inviting tone, a cold, indifferent tone, a tense, agitated tone. Even though the words were identical, participants reported vastly different emotions based on the voice alone. Those who heard the warm tone felt confident. Those who heard the indifferent tone felt dismissed. Those who heard the agitated tone felt uneasy, even though the actual words were the same. This proves that your tone isn't just a detail, it's a direct emotional experience for the listener. AI can now predict your personality from your voice, Here's where things get really interesting. Artificial intelligence has advanced to the point where it can analyze a voice recording and predict personality traits with shocking accuracy. Using algorithms trained on thousands of voices, AI can detect subtle patterns that reveal confidence levels, emotional states, stress levels, even potential health conditions. In fact, some companies are already using voice-based AI screening in job interviews to assess candidates based on their vocal traits rather than just resumes. Some researchers even believe that in the near future, doctors may use voice analysis to diagnose mental health conditions like depression or anxiety simply by detecting vocal changes. If a machine can decode so much from a few seconds of your voice, imagine what people around you are picking up on every day. How to use this knowledge to your advantage. Now that you know how much your voice shapes perception, how can you use it to improve your communication and influence? Here are some immediate, science-backed ways to enhance your voice. Slow down slightly. Speaking too fast makes you seem anxious, while a steady pace exudes confidence. Control your pitch. Avoid extreme highs or lows. A balanced, resonant tone is most effective. Use intentional pauses. Silence can be powerful. Well-placed pauses create impact and make you sound more deliberate. Deepen your breathing. Shallow breaths make your voice weak. Deep, diaphragmatic breathing gives it strength. Record yourself. Listen to how you actually sound versus how you think you sound. Adjust as needed. By applying these techniques, you're not just improving the way you speak, you're improving the way the world sees you. Because at the end of the day, your voice isn't just heard, it's felt. Your voice, the hidden power behind emotional influence. Close your eyes for a moment and think about the most comforting voice you've ever heard. Maybe it was a parent's gentle reassurance, a mentor's steady guidance, or a friend's infectious enthusiasm. Now think of a time when someone's voice made you feel uneasy. Maybe they sounded impatient, disinterested, or cold, even if their words were polite. This is the power of voice. It doesn't just communicate thoughts, it transmits emotions. Studies show that we respond to the emotional tone of a voice before we even process the words. This is why a sarcastic, "oh great," sounds completely different from an enthusiastic one. Our brains are wired to decode emotions and voices instantly, often before we're even aware of it. And here's where it gets even more fascinating. Your voice doesn't just affect others, it affects you. The way you speak can influence your own emotions, your confidence, and even your stress levels. So what happens when you begin to control your voice with intention? Let's explore the deep psychological connection between your voice, your emotions, and the way people perceive you. The unconscious emotional reactions to voice. We often assume emotions shape our voices. If you're nervous, your voice might shake. If you're excited, you might speak faster. If you're upset, your tone may become sharper. But the reverse is also true. Your voice can shape your emotions. Speaking in a calm, steady tone can lower anxiety levels. Research shows that when people slow down their speech and breathe deeply, their heart rate decreases and their body enters a more relaxed state. Raising your pitch slightly and smiling while speaking can lift your mood, even if you don't feel happy. Forcing your voice into a lighter, more expressive tone can create a psychological feedback loop, tricking your brain into feeling better. Projecting your voice with strength can boost confidence. In studies on public speaking, participants who spoke with more vocal energy felt significantly more self-assured, even if they weren't confident at first. This means your voice isn't just an outcome of your emotions, it's a tool to change them. Want to feel more powerful in a stressful situation? Speak with controlled pauses and a steady pitch. Want to instantly brighten your mood? Smile while you talk. It changes how your voice resonates. In a way, your voice is like a remote control for your brain. The way you use it can shift your internal state and the way others respond to you. The subtle signals in your tone. Let's break down how small shifts in vocal tone can completely change the way you're perceived. The voice of confidence versus the voice of doubt. Imagine two people saying the same phrase, person A, "I know we can find a solution." Strong, steady tone, downward inflection. Person B, "I know we can find a solution." Soft, hesitant tone, upward inflection. Even though the words are identical, the impact is entirely different. A downward inflection, lowering Your tone at the end of a sentence signals confidence and certainty. An upward inflection, raising your tone at the end, makes it sound like a question, even when it's not. This is why people with strong leadership presence often train themselves to end sentences with a firm downward tone. It signals authority and conviction. Now, think about your own speech. Do you unconsciously raise your tone at the end of statements? If so, you might be sending signals of uncertainty without even realizing it. The voice of warmth versus the voice of distance. Your voice can either draw people closer or push them away. Imagine you ask someone, "How are you?" Now compare these. Two responses, warm tone. "I'm doing great. Thanks for asking." Lively, friendly, slight variation in pitch. Cold tone. "I'm doing great. Thanks for asking." Flat, monotone, no vocal variation. Even without facial expressions, you can feel the difference. A warm, expressive tone makes you sound approachable and engaging. A flat, monotone voice makes you sound uninterested or emotionally closed off. This is why people who are naturally expressive tend to form connections more easily. Their voices radiate emotion, which makes others feel engaged. If you've ever spoken to someone whose voice lacked variation, you probably felt detached, even if their words were friendly. The key takeaway? Your tone is more important than your words. If you want to create emotional warmth in a conversation, add slight variations in pitch and let your voice carry natural energy. The voice of persuasion versus the voice of resistance. Persuasive speakers have one thing in common: they sound certain. When people are unsure of themselves, they tend to use more filler words like or like. Speak too quickly due to nerves. Use a rising tone at the end of sentences, making statements sound like questions. On the other hand, persuasive speakers use strategic pauses, maintain a steady, drop their tone slightly at the end of statements to reinforce certainty. This technique is why some voices hold power in a room while others get overlooked. Want to become more persuasive? Eliminate fillers, slow down, and control your vocal tone. The difference is immediate. How your voice shapes your relationships. Your voice does more than just communicate. It dictates the way people feel around you. Trust. A soft, steady, and warm voice builds trust. A rushed or erratic tone creates unease, attraction. Research shows that people are more drawn to voices with warmth and slight breathiness, as opposed to sharp or tense voices. Conflict resolution. A calm, measured voice can diffuse tension, while a harsh or defensive tone escalates conflict, even if the words are neutral. Think about someone in your life whose voice instantly puts you at ease. Chances are they speak with a balance of warmth, steadiness, and confidence. Now think about someone whose voice irritates or unsettles you. It may be due to a tense monotone or overly sharp vocal quality. This is why understanding vocal control is so crucial, not just for public speaking, but for daily interactions. Can you change your natural voice? Yes. While you can't completely alter the natural timbre of your voice, you can train it to sound more confident, warm, or authoritative. Breathing exercises. Deep belly breathing strengthens your voice and prevents nervous shakiness. Vocal warm-ups. Humming or stretching your vocal cords improves resonance and control. Speaking drills. Practicing with intentional pauses and downward inflections can make you sound more composed. Mimicking powerful speakers, listening to and imitating confident voices can help you internalize stronger vocal habits. Voice training is not just for singers or actors, it's for anyone who wants to improve the way they communicate and connect with others. Your voice is your superpower. At the end of the day, your voice is one of the most powerful tools you have. It influences how people perceive you, how persuasive you are, how confident you feel, how well you connect with others, and the best part, it's something you can control. The way you speak today does not have to be the way you speak forever. With awareness and small adjustments, you can transform your voice into one that commands respect, builds trust, and strengthens every interaction. You have, because your voice isn't just something you use, it's something that defines you. Your voice, the bridge between who you are and how the world sees You right now, at this very moment, your voice is shaping the way people perceive you. Whether you're speaking to a friend, negotiating a deal, or simply answering a phone call, your voice carries powerful, invisible signals. Signals that influence trust, authority, attraction, and even your own emotions. We've explored how your tone, pitch, and delivery reveal hidden aspects of your personality. We've uncovered how small adjustments in the way you speak can make you sound more confident, persuasive, and engaging. But now we reach the most important question. How do you unlock the full potential of your voice? This final section will take everything we've learned and transform it into practical, real-world techniques so that by the end, you'll not only understand the power of your voice, you'll know how to master it. The secret art of vocal control. How the best communicators speak with purpose. Some people seem to own a room the moment they start speaking. They don't just communicate, they command attention. What's their secret? It's not just what they say, it's how they say it. Here's what master communicators do differently. They control their pace. Great speakers know that speed matters. Speaking too fast makes you sound nervous, anxious, or unsure. It also makes it harder for people to absorb your message. Speaking too slow can make you sound hesitant or disengaged. The ideal speaking pace is 120, 150 words per minute, a rhythm that feels both natural and confident. Want to sound more persuasive? Slow down slightly before making a key point. Want to sound more engaging? Vary your speed. Speed up for excitement, slow down for emphasis. Your pace is like a heartbeat. When controlled with intention, it draws people in. They master the power of the pause. Silence is not the absence of speech. It's an amplifier of meaning. Most people are uncomfortable with pauses. They rush to fill the space with or unnecessary words. But powerful speakers know that a well-placed pause creates impact. Before answering a question, a short pause makes you seem more thoughtful and composed. Before making a big statement, a pause builds suspense and keeps people hanging on your words. After saying something important, a pause lets your message sink in. The next time you're about to speak, don't rush. Own the silence. Let the pause pull people in. They use their tone to create emotion. Words deliver information, but tone delivers emotion. A simple phrase like "I understand" can mean empathy, impatience, or sarcasm, depending on how you say it. Great communicators adjust their tone to match their message. Excitement? Add more vocal energy and variation. Seriousness? Lower your pitch and slow your pace. Warmth? Soften your tone and slightly smile as you speak. The more control you have over your tone, the more control you have over the way people feel when they hear you. Your voice and personal influence. How to leave a lasting impact. Think about the most influential people in your life. Chances are their voice played a huge role in why they made such an impact on you. Whether it was a teacher, a leader, a friend, or a public speaker, you didn't just remember their words. You remembered their voice. Because influence is not just about what we say, it's about the feeling we leave behind. If you want to be someone whose words truly resonate, here are 3 crucial steps. Speak with certainty, even when you're unsure. Confidence isn't about always having the right answers. It's about delivering your words with conviction. Avoid filler words like like, and you know. Use strong declarative statements instead of hesitant phrases. Compare. I believe we should take this approach. I think maybe this could be a good approach. Even if you don't feel 100% certain, speaking as if you are creates instant credibility. Make people feel heard. Yeah, through your voice, people don't just want to hear your words. They want to feel understood. One of the most powerful vocal skills is active listening. Here's how you can show you're fully engaged. Match the speaker's energy level. If they're sharing something exciting, let your voice reflect interest. Use vocal affirmations. Simple responses like, "I," "See, that makes sense," or a well-placed can make people feel validated. Mirror emotions subtly. If someone is speaking softly about something serious, lowering your own voice shows empathy. The way you respond vocally determines how safe and valued people feel around you. Train your voice like an instrument. Your voice is not fixed. It's a skill that can be improved, refined, and even transformed. Want to make your voice more engaging, powerful, or soothing? Here are daily exercises to train it. Humming warm-ups. Humming helps strengthen your vocal cords and improve resonance. Breath control. Practice deep belly breathing to avoid shaky or weak speech. Vocal projection. Stand up straight and speak from your diaphragm to add strength to your voice. Record and review. Listen to your own voice and adjust based on what you hear. Think of your voice like a muscle, whose the more you train it, the stronger and more controlled it becomes. The final transformation, becoming the master of your own voice. We've journeyed through the depths of what your voice reveals, how it influences others, and how you can shape it to reflect confidence, warmth, and authority. But now there's only one thing left to do. Use it, because your voice isn't just a tool. It's a reflection of who you are. It carries your passion, your intelligence, your authenticity. It's the bridge between how you feel inside and how the world perceives you. So the next time you speak, whether it's to one person or 100, remember this. Your voice has the power to command a room. Your voice has the ability to change someone's emotions. Your voice is one of the most powerful forces you own. The only question is, are you using it to its fullest potential? Final call to action. Speak with intention. Speak with confidence. Because your voice doesn't just echo, it leaves an imprint.